1080p is a set of HDTV high-definition video modes characterized by 1080 horizontal lines of vertical resolution and progressive scan, as opposed to interlaced, as is the case with the 1080i display standard. The term usually assumes a widescreen aspect ratio of 16:9, implying a resolution of 1920x 1080, often marketed as Full HD. Broadcasting standards. Any display device that advertises 1080p typically refers to the ability to accept 1080p signals in native resolution format, which means there are a true 1920 pixels in width and 1080 pixels in height, and the display is not overscanning, underscanning, or reinterpreting the signal to a lower resolution. The HD-ready 1080p logo program, by DJI Europe, requires that certified TV sets support 1080p 24 fps, 1080p 50 fps, and 1080p 60 fps formats, among other requirements, with fps meaning frames per second. For live broadcast applications, a high-definition progressive scan format operating at 1080p at 50 or 60 frames per second is currently being evaluated as a future standard for moving picture acquisition. EBU has been endorsing 1080p 50 as a future-proof production format because it improves resolution and requires no interlacing, allows broadcasting of standard 1080i 25 and 720p 50 signal alongside 1080p 50 even in the current infrastructure, and is compatible with DCI distribution formats. 1080p 50/p60 production format will require a whole new range of studio equipment including cameras, storage and editing systems, and contribution links, as it has doubled the data rate of current 50 or 60 fields interlaced 1920x 1080 from 1.485 Gbps to nominally 3 Gbps using uncompressed RGB encoding. Most current revisions of SMPTE 372M, SMPTE 424M and EBU Tech 3299 require YCBCR color space and 422 chroma subsampling for transmitting 1080p 50 and 1080p 60 signal. Recent studies show that for digital broadcasts compressed with H264/AVC, transmission bandwidth savings of interlaced video over fully progressive video are minimal even when using twice the frame rate, that is, 1080p 50 signal actually produces the same bit rate as 1080i 50 signal. ATSC. In the United States, the original ATSC standards for HDTV supported 1080p video, but only at the frame rates of 23.976, 24, 25, 29.97 and 30 frames per second. In July 2008, the ATSC standards were amended to include H264/MPEG-4 AVC compression and 1080p at 50, 59.94 and 60 frames per second. Such frame rates require H264/AVC high profile level 4.2, while standard HDTV frame rates only require level 4.0. This update is not expected to result in widespread availability of 1080p 60 programming, since most of the existing digital receivers in use would only be able to decode the older, less efficient MPEG-2 codec, and because there is a limited amount of bandwidth for sub-channels. DVB. In Europe, 1080p 25 signals have been supported by the DVB suite of broadcasting standards. The 1080p 50 is considered to be a future-proof production format and, eventually, a future broadcasting format. 1080p 50 broadcasting should require the same bandwidth as 1080i 50 signal and only 20% more than that of 720p 50 signal due to increased compression efficiency, though 1080p 50 production requires more bandwidth and/or more efficient codecs such as JPEG 2000, high bitrate MPEG-2, or H264/AVC and HEVC. From September 2009, ETSI and EBU, the maintainers of the DVB suite, added support for 1080p 50 signal coded with MPEG-4 AVC high profile level 4.2 with scalable video coding extensions or VC1 advanced profile compression. DVB also supports 1080p encoded at ATSC frame rates of 23.976, 24, 29.97, 30, 59.94 and 60. EBU requires that legacy MPEG-4 decoders should avoid crashing in the presence of SVC and/or 1080p 50 packets. SVC enables forward compatibility with 1080p 50 and 1080p 60 broadcasting for older MPEG-4 receivers, so they will only recognize baseline SVC stream coded at a lower resolution or frame rate and will gracefully ignore additional packets, while newer hardware will be able to decode full-resolution signal. Availability. Broadcasts. In the United States, 1080p over-the-air broadcasts still do not exist as of March 2014. All major networks use either 720p 60 or 1080i 60 encoded with MPEG-2. However, satellite services utilize the 1080p/24-30 format with MPEG-4 AVCH264 encoding for pay-per-view movies that are downloaded in advance via satellite or on demand via broadband. At this time, no pay service channels such as USA, HDNET, etc. nor premium movie channels such as HBO, etc. stream their services live to their distributors in this format because many MVPDs, especially DBS and cable, do not have sufficient bandwidth to provide the format streaming live to their subscribers without negatively impacting their current services. In addition is the high cost of using more bandwidth for one 1080p/24 channel than that necessary for a 1080i or even a 720p channel, and for only those relatively few subscribers who have HDTV devices that can display 1080p/24 being an efficient use of their limited bandwidth. For material that originates from a progressive scan 24-frame S source, MPEG-2 lets the video be coded as 1080p 24, irrespective of the final output format. These progressively coded frames are tagged with metadata instructing a decoder how to perform a 3-2 pull-down to interlace them. While the formal output of the MPEG-2 decoding process from such stations is 1080i 60, the actual content is coded as 1080p 24 and can be viewed as such since no information is lost even when the broadcaster performs the 3-2 pull-down. Blu-ray disc. Blu-ray discs are able to hold 1080p HD content, and most movies released on Blu-ray disc produce a full 1080p HD picture when the player is connected to a 1080p HDTV via an HDMI cable. The Blu-ray disc video specification allows encoding of 1080p 23.976, 1080p 24, 1080i 50, and 1080i 59.94. Generally this type of video runs at up to 40 megabits per second, compared to the 3.5 megabits per second for conventional standard definition broadcasts. Smartphones. Smartphones with 1080p Full HD display have been available on the market since 2013. There are different brands that offers this resolution on their flagship phone screens. Internet content. Several websites, including YouTube, allow videos to be uploaded in the 1080p format. Digital distribution services also deliver 1080p content, such as movies available on Blu-ray disc and/or from broadcast sources. This can include distribution services like peer-to-peer websites and public or private tracking networks. Netflix will be offering Super HD content in the US and other countries through select internet providers starting in 2013. Consumer televisions and projectors. As of 2012, most consumer televisions being sold provide 1080p inputs mainly via HDMI and support full high-def resolutions. 1080p resolution is available in all types of television, including plasma, LCD, DLP front and rear projection and LCD projection. For displaying film-based 1080i 60 signals, a scheme called 3-2 pull-down reversal is beginning to appear in some newer 1080p displays, which can produce a true 1080p quality image from film-based 1080i 60 programs. Similarly, 25 fps content broadcast at 1080i 50 may be interlaced at 1080p content with no loss of quality or resolution. AV equipment manufacturers have adopted the term Full HD to mean a set can display all available HD resolutions up to 1080p. The term is misleading, however, because it does not guarantee the set is capable of rendering digital video at all frame rates encoded in source files with 1080 pixel vertical resolution. Most notably, a full HD set is not guaranteed to support the 1080p 24 format, leading to consumer confusion. Digital Europe maintains the HD-ready 1080p logo program that requires the certified TV sets to support 1080p 24, 1080p 50, and 1080p 60, without overscan, underscan and picture distortion. Computer monitors. Most widescreen cathode ray tube and liquid crystal display monitors can natively display 1080p content. For example, widescreen WXGA monitors support 1920x1200 resolution, which can display a pixel-for-pixel reproduction of the 1080p format. Additionally, many 23, 24, and 27-inch widescreen LCD monitors use 1920x1200 as their native resolution. 30-inch displays can display beyond 1080p at up to 2560x1600. Many 27 inches monitors have native resolutions of 2560x1440 and hence operate at 1440p. Video game consoles. Video game consoles such as Sony's PlayStation 3, Microsoft's Xbox 360 and Nintendo's Wii U, as well as microconsoles like OUYA, GameStick and NVIDIA Shield can display upscaled games and video content in 1080p, although the vast majority of games are rendered at lower resolutions. For all of the consoles, this is done through HDMI connections. Additionally, the upscaled 1080p video is available on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 via an analog component D terminal connection, a Euro as well as the VGA connection on the Xbox 360. On the PlayStation 3, developers must provide specific resolution support at the software level as there is no hardware upscaling support, whereas on the Xbox 360 games can be upscaled using a built-in hardware scaler chip. However, most games on both consoles do not run at a native 1080p resolution. The Wii U, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360 provide 1080p video services. Sony provides both the PlayStation Store VOD service and Blu-ray disc playback. Microsoft provides the Zoom Video Marketplace for instant on 1080p Euro video content but does not have Blu-ray disc playback capability. It does however support the now defunct HDTV disc standard via the Xbox 360 HDTV player add-on. Both consoles also offer support for streaming 1080p Euro content in various formats over home network from other computers, and also via USB connection to external storage devices. A Euro due to potential copyright issues, when an analog component connection is used, only system menus and gamma play are available in 1080p. Video content is displayed at a lower resolution or in 1080i. A Euro while 1080p analog component outputs is supported by the consoles, some display hardware will only accept component connections up to 1080i. Camcorders and cameras. Many consumer camcorders, professional video and DSLR cameras, and smartphones can capture 1080p 24, 1080p 25, or 1080p 30 video, often encoding it in progressive segmented frame format. See also: List of common resolutions, 4320p, 2160p, 1080p, 1080i, 720p, 576p, 576i, 480p, 480i, 360p, 240p, progressive segmented frame, high-definition television, HD-ready 1080p, display resolution, Blu-ray disc, references. External links, 1080p and the Acuity of Human Vision Audiolix Home Theater Magazine. April 2, 2007. High-definition 1080p TV, Why You Should Be Concerned. Secrets of Home Theater and High Fidelity. February 28, 2007. The Facts and Fiction of 1080p. April 17, 2006. High-definition image formats for television production. December 2004.